Hello everyone, I'm going to go through some examples of some word problems today where we are actually applying the Pythagorean theorem. So I'm going to start with number 3. A rectangle is 4 centimeters wide and 11 centimeters long, which is what this picture is showing us. It wants us to find the length of the diagonal. So the diagonal, if I could draw a straight line, would be right like that. So now you can see that this is a right triangle, so we can use the Pythagorean theorem. So we have to decide what are the legs and what's the hypotenuse. Because this is your right angle, then 4 and 11 are your legs. It doesn't matter which one is A and which one is B, but what we are missing is the C. So I'm going to go ahead and write 4 squared plus 11 squared equals C squared. That gives me 16 plus 121 equals C squared. Because these are on the same side of the equation, I'm going to combine like terms. So that's 137 equals C squared. And now for this last step, I'm going to need my calculator. So I'm going to take the square root of 137, okay, because that's how you take the opposite of squaring. So now I have 11.7 equals C. I do have my calculator on fixed still. So if I go back here and I put it on nothing, I actually get this 11.70469991. But if I want it to do the rounding for me, I do second decimal point. That's my fix. And if I go over to 1, that means I want only one digit after the decimal point. So that's how it can kind of give you that rounded answer. Now, if you look back at the picture, does 11.7 seem like a reasonable answer? It has to be the longest side, so it is more than 11, but it has to be shorter than these two sides added together. So it is less than 15. Okay, I'm going to do another problem, number 4. So number 4 here, it says a computer monitor is labeled according to the diagonal measure of its screen. If the screen is 16 inches wide and 12 inches high, what is the length of the diagonal? So this time there is no picture, so I'm going to draw one. So there's the computer monitor. It's 16 by 12, and they want the diagonal again. Okay, so what I'm finding is my hypotenuse, which is the C. So this time I actually kind of notice that I'm thinking this may be a version of a 3, 4, 5 right triangle. There's a video I posted where you can look for those Pythagorean triples. So if I suspect it, I'm going to write those numbers inside my triangle. This is 3 times 4. This is 4 times 4. So this one must be 5 times 4, which is 20. That's my answer. And I don't have to do any of the work that I would regularly have to do. So always be on the lookout for a 3, 4, 5 right triangle, Pythagorean triple. Okay, moving on to number 5. So we have an inclined ramp and it rises 3.8 feet over a horizontal distance of 10 feet. How long is the ramp? So what they're asking us for is this right here, which is the hypotenuse. So I'm going to call that C. So these are my A and B. It doesn't matter which one is which. So 10 squared plus 3.8 squared equals C squared. I know 10 squared is 100. I'm going to use my calculator to help me on 3.8 squared. And that gives me 14.4. So then I add these together. 114.4 is C squared. And I square root both sides. So I'm going to take the square root of 114.4. And that gives me 10.7. And again, my calculator is set to round it for me. So 10.7, looking at the picture, it's more than 10, but it's less than 10 plus 3.8. So that is a reasonable answer. Okay, I'm going to take a look at number 6 here. So Ken lives 3 miles north of school. Barbie lives 3 miles west of school. What is the straight line distance between their houses? So I'm going to say this is school right here. And Ken lives 3 miles north. So Ken lives up here. Barbie lives 3 miles west. So that's over here. And, well, there's kind of my picture. So how far apart do these two live? So do you see how that is a right triangle again? So 3 and 3 would be the legs. And then I'm looking for my hypotenuse, which is C. So I say 3 squared plus 3 squared equals C squared. 9 plus 9 equals C squared. 18 is C squared. And then I'm going to take the square root of 18. And I get 4.2 is my C. And looking back at the picture, I know it has to be more than 3, but it has to be less than 6. So that is a reasonable answer. Because we're talking about miles here, that would be an answer of miles. Okay, I will take a look at number 7 here. So number 7 says, 2 trains left Metropolis at the same time. One traveled south at 50 miles per hour. The other traveled east at 40 miles per hour. So if I have a train and one's going south and the other one is going east, how far apart were the trains at the end of 3 hours? Well, the one that was traveling south was going 50 miles an hour for 3 hours. So therefore it went 150 miles. And the one that went east went 40 miles an hour for 3 hours, so it went 120 miles. So the question is, how far apart are these 2 trains now? And so again, you see the right triangle, we are missing the hypotenuse. Now, I'm kind of suspicious on this one also that it might be a 3, 4, 5. So if I write those numbers in there, this is 3 times 40. This is 4, that's not gonna work. So I thought it maybe was, but I think I was wrong there. So 120 and 150 are my legs. So 120 squared plus 150 squared equals c squared. I am gonna need a calculator for this. So 120 squared is 14,400, and 150 squared is 22,500. Okay, so I do need to add those together, and I'm getting 36,900, and then I'm going to square root that, and that comes out to 192.1 is your C when I square root both of those sides. So it should be more than 150, but it should be less than 270. So that is a reasonable answer. And that is in miles. So my answer would be in miles. Okay, so those are just some examples of how we can use Pythagorean theorem for these word problems. Thanks for watching.